Attention! This video will contain major spoilers for Tears of the Kingdom. These include spoilers for the rewards of getting all the shrines, as well as large story elements. If you don't want to get spoiled, I suggest you play the game and come back later. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has already become one of the most beloved Zelda games ever released in recent years. However, it's also a game that still contains a good amount of mystery and questions for us fans to solve. And one of the biggest mysteries that we have now is the ancient heroes aspect. Well, my insane theory, and what I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail, is that I believe that the heroes aspect, this hero, is actually a new reincarnation of Ganondorf. And I also believe that the ancient hero is not a Zonai and Hylian hybrid, but rather a Gerudo and Zonai hybrid. I know, that's just a wild jump, but hear me out. The Ancient Heroes aspect is a reward you get for completing all 152 shrines. Once you do complete all the shrines, you will be told to go to the Temple of Time. Once you go there, you will receive the Ancient Heroes aspect. The Heroes aspect is said to contain the spirit of the hero who once saved Hyrule, and once you do wear this armor piece, the aura will envelop the wearer. If you go up to Pora or Impa while wearing this armor set, they point out that you look very similar to the ancient hero originally seen in the first Calamity, that's depicted on the old tapestry, which ends up confirming that this hero was the hero that stopped the Calamity 10,000 years prior. The mystery isn't exactly what this character was, but rather where he came from and who he is as a person. Normally, Link is the one that always has the Master Sword, the one that normally saves the day. But this character right here, the one that wielded a Master Sword to stop the first Calamity, is an extreme outlier when compared to all the other heroes that have wielded the blade. So then the question arises, who is this person? Where did he come from? Well, let's take a deeper look into the design of this character. First off, the ancient hero has flowing red hair, a golden emblem in the center of his forehead, and a very oddly familiar tail with red fur towards the end. Now, all of these are extremely similar to Ganondorf himself. Ganondorf, in pretty much every version of Zelda, has always had some kind of golden-like jewel in the center of his head, and Tears of the Kingdom is no exception, with a piece of golden jewelry that seems somewhat similar to what the ancient hero wears. Secondly, the large red flowing hair is extremely similar to Ganondorf as well. And along with having similar hair to Ganondorf, he also has red flowing hair like the rest of the Gerudo. The Gerudo are the only characters with red flowing hair in Zelda, and the ancient hero has that in spades. And though this one is a definite stretch, his tail is extremely similar to Dark Beast Ganon found in Hyrule Warriors. All of the other previous versions of Dark Beast Ganon have had tails of their own once Ganondorf actually becomes this form. Now, on the same vein as Dark Beast Ganon, the feet are also another very odd prominent feature. When compared to all the iterations of Dark Beast Ganon, they all have the same uplifted foot design. And finally, there's the actual skin color. Though we haven't seen any other versions of Zonai other than Rauru and Minoru have a light grayish tone on their skin. Now, when looking at Gerudo, specifically Ganondorf, his skin is more green, like a greenish gray. With the ancient hero being a possible hybrid between Gerudo and Zonai, that would explain why his skin color is a bit of a mixture of both Ganondorf's skin color, since it is a Va or a male, as well as other Zonai skin colors, combining those greenish and grayish tones to create the lightish green skin tone of the ancient hero. There are also the ears, which are extremely pointed. Now, most Gerudo, and in previous iterations of Ganondorf, all of the ears have been pointed. However, in TOTK, Ganondorf's ears are actually rounded, while all the other female versions are pointed. And now, of course, Rauru and all the other Zonai have extremely pronounced and pointed ears. So this still fits into the idea of a Gerudo-Zonai hybrid. Now, of course, the ancient hero also has lots of similarities to the Zonai. The armor set that he actually wears is in Zonai origin, as well as tattoos that normally are representative on characters that aren't Zonai, but that seem to follow and serve the Zonai themselves. So what does this mean? There are a lot of design similarities between Ganon, Ganondorf, and Rauru and the Zonai. But if this is a hybrid, then how did this come to be? Well, I think it all begins right after the Imprisoning War. As we see in Tears of the Kingdom during the massive conflict, where the sages and Rauru are about to actually lose, Rauru in a final-ditch effort uses his power to seal Ganon and put them both in a permanent stasis. When this occurs, Rauru's body is there entirely, and his arm is what's actually holding Ganondorf directly. Now, over the years, that seal does wane, and Ganondorf's power slowly seeps out. Now let's fast forward to Breath of the Wild. In those events, the Age of Calamity returned, where Calamity Ganon spawned off of the hatred and malice that was seeping out of Ganondorf way down in the depths of Hyrule Castle. However, something of pretty big significance is that in Breath of the Wild, Zelda states that as we're about to face Dark Beast Ganon, that he abandoned attempting trying to reincarnate himself and is assumed a fully enraged form. This means that Ganon/Ganondorf was trying to give himself a rebirth and reincarnate once again as a possible attempt to escape from the depths below. Now, when the events of Tears of the Kingdom do come up, as Link and Zelda finally do enter the sealing chamber where Rauru and Ganondorf lie, Ganondorf is seen mummified, old, and withered away, but Rauru's body, except for his arm, is nowhere in sight. It's completely vanished. Now, it's very possible that if a Zonai body degrades, maybe it just disperses as energy. We don't know. But from what we know in Tears of the Kingdom, Zonai are supposed to live for a very, very long time. Most likely longer than the regular species like Gerudo and the Hylians. So where is Rauru's body? Well, what if, in an attempt to reincarnate himself, Ganon, with his power seeping away, tried to use Rauru as a catalyst and possess his body, at least the remainder of it, and use him as a way of giving himself a rebirth, which gave birth to this new Gerudo and Zonai hybrid, the Ancient Hero. We've seen Ganon do possessions in the past, specifically with Puppet Zelda. And this could also explain something else, as Calamity Ganon seemed to be an amalgamation of both malice and ancient technology from the Guardians. This could possibly mean that Ganondorf can't reincarnate himself without some kind of body to inhabit, or without some kind of base. But in the Calamity 10,000 years prior, it could have been with Rauru's body himself, which would explain why Rauru's body is missing down into the depths when we first see the sealing chamber. Some of the biggest pieces of evidence that I have for this, as we've already discussed, is the similarity in design between the Ancient Hero and Ganondorf himself. But another big piece of information that I glossed over was the eyes. The eye color of the Ancient Hero is the same as Rauru himself, having blue eyes. Rauru also has large sideburns on both parts of his ear, which is extremely similar to the way the sideburns are on the Ancient Hero. During this melding between the two of them, Ganondorf and Rauru combined to create the first Gerudo-Zonai hybrid, giving birth to a new Ganondorf. This one possessing features both between the Gerudo King and the King of Hyrule, Rauru and Ganondorf. Because of the ancient power that was resting inside of Rauru, as Ganondorf entered his body, it allowed Ganon's Dark Beast form to take partial shape, where certain features like the feet and the tail started to become a little more prominent thanks to this ancient power building inside of Rauru. However, because of this melding between Rauru's body and Ganondorf, the Ancient Hero would still have the light of Rauru inside of him. And because of this, I believe the Ancient Hero ended up rejecting the curse of demise that follows them all the way through the timeline. As we know, Demise, back in Skyward Sword, sent a curse to follow the spirit of the hero in every reincarnation. It could be possible that because Ganon used Rauru as a way of rebirthing himself, that thanks to the light inside of Rauru, that this new Ganondorf rejected the curse of demise. And because of this, the curse took a physical shape, which was the first calamity that happened 10,000 years prior. Now with the curse expelled from this new Ganondorf, this could have been an act that showed that they embodied the new spirit of the hero, at least for the time since a new calamity was taking place, which allowed them to pull the Master Sword from this pedestal, and because of this new Ganondorf rejecting his original heritage, he finally became the Ancient Hero, the one that helped stop the first calamity 10,000 years prior. A Gerudo and Zonai hybrid, and the first, and as far as we know, only form of Ganondorf that finally turned to the side of good thanks to the light inside of Rauru, where he took control of his own destiny and didn't let the curse of demise dictate how he would be in his new life. And that is my possible theory on the Ancient Hero. Now, yes, you could probably poke holes in a lot of these theories. For example, we have no idea what other Zonai look like. We don't even know what happens to Zonai when they actually die. Do their bodies decay or do they completely vanish? We don't know. We don't even know if it is truly possible for this version of Ganondorf to actually fuse his body with another person. Now, we have seen that happen before, specifically in Link Between Worlds, where Yuga and Ganon actually combined each other, where both of them took features from one another to create a whole new Yuga Ganon, but we don't know if this version of Ganon in Tears of the Kingdom had the ability to actually do that with Rauru's body. And I by no means am a professional theorist. I very well might have missed some massive piece of lore that completely breaks his theory in half. I don't know. but this is my personal take on what I think the ancient hero is, and I personally like the concept. Having a Ganondorf, with thanks to the help of Rauru and the light inside of him, finally become good and reject Demise's curse. The one time where the cycle was truly broken, where Link wasn't around to stop that calamity, and instead it was Ganondorf himself facing off against the calamity and the original curse with the help of Zelda. But with all that being said, that is my theory on what I think the ancient hero is. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, subscribe, comments were always ever amazing, and please tell me, what do you think of this theory? Do you think it's crazy? Do you think it makes sense? What's your theory, and what do you think the ancient hero is? I would love to hear y'all's thoughts, because, I mean, there really isn't many people out there that know or you have an idea of what the ancient hero is, so starting a conversation would be awesome. Now, if you did make it all the way to the end of this video, I would like you to keep this in mind. This is not the normal content I do. Normally, I do long form factor content, like multi-hour long plays, and or more informational videos or deep dives into games. I normally don't do theories like this, so before you hit the subscribe button, if you do want to subscribe, keep that in mind that that's the normal content I do, and this, specifically what I did today, is a more of a one-off. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Just signing out. Later.